Alright, so hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today I want to go over all the different turret weapons you can get for your Railjack. Now I'm not gonna go too in depth because I feel it's kind of pointless right now anyway, because each weapon has 4 variants and each variant has different stats. But also because if you were to do the grinds to have the ability to specialize yourself towards a specific weapon, there is pretty much no reason for you to watch this video because you know all of this already. However, there's one more thing we need to do before we can check out the weapons, and that's to talk about the damage types, because as you may have noticed, they're a little bit different. So, to help us visualize what the hell is going on with the new damage types, I went to the wiki and got this, which is a fantastic breakdown of the new damage types. Now, as you can see, it is based on the damage system that we use outside of Railjack, which makes sense because otherwise our guns would just not work, but this way we can just convert the normal damage that we have on our guns into the new ones, no problem. So, the new damage types are Ballistic, which is based off of Impact, which will concuss any ship you proc it on, making it do less damage and have less accuracy for 6 seconds. Plasma, which is based off of Puncture, which will decompress the ship, and it's similar to Corrosive, so it will reduce the ship's shields and armor for 20 seconds, and it stacks. Particle, which is based off of Slash, and it causes a tear effect that stacks multiplicatively with itself, and it causes the ship to take 7.5% increased damage for 20 seconds per stack. Then there is Frost, which is based off of Cold, which will immobilize the ship, slowing it down to a complete stop and disabling its weapons. Ionic, which is based off of Electricity, which will scramble the ship, making it spiral erratically for 6 seconds. Incendiary, which is based off of Heat, which will make the ship take some damage over 6 seconds. And finally Chem, which is a little bit weird because it's based off of Toxin, but it's essentially radiation damage. So if you proc it on a ship, it will attack the nearest target, whatever it is, for 12 seconds, and it will get fired on in return. And finally, let's also quickly go over the different variants of turrets you can get, with the ones from the dojo being sort of the baseline. So we have the Lavan versions of the turrets, which have higher status chance and increased accuracy, the Vidar version of the turrets, which have increased crit chance and reduced accuracy, and finally we have the Zetki variant, which has the highest damage, the highest crit and or status chance and increased accuracy, but it also builds up heat much faster, twice as fast for the majority of them and 4 times as fast for the Cryophon. And finally we have one last thing. So at MK3 anyway, the Lavan and Zetki variants will randomly roll between 30 and 60% increased fire rate, and the Vidar variants will roll between 15 and 30% increased damage. And with all of that out of the way, let's finally talk about the bloody weapons. So the first weapon on the menu is the Apoc, which does primarily plasma damage, but it has a decent amount of particle as well. This one is probably my favorite. It is full auto, it doesn't fire too terribly fast, even with increased fire rate on the Zetki version. The projectiles it fires are rather fast, so it's pretty easy to stay on the target. It has very good base crit, decent enough status, and really good damage types. It's just a bit of a shame that the status chance isn't higher, because Plasma and Particle is a great combination because you're going to be stripping away the enemy armor and shields while simultaneously making them take more damage. Next on the menu we have the Pulsar, which does primarily ionic damage with a little bit of plasma as well. Now this is a hitscan weapon, so you don't actually need to lead the target with this one. You just aim where you want to shoot, you pull the trigger and bam, you just zap them instantly. The problem with this one, in my eyes at least, is that while it is hitscan, so it's much easier to hit things, especially if they're spazzing around, and the supporting stats are decent as well. It has both good crit and status. Ionic procs are not the best, it's just a little bit of crowd control that you kind of don't need. And the damage, in my opinion, is just too low, especially for the Veil. Next up we have the Karstinox, which does primarily chem with a little bit of plasma on the side. This one is full auto and it has the highest fire rate out of all the different weapons. So even though the damage isn't super high, the DPS is actually pretty good. It also comes with pretty high base status, which is great for plasma because, you know, you can make the enemies take more damage, and then if you proc chem on them, which you most likely will because it's a primary damage type, they will start fighting each other and start doing damage to each other, which is great as well. This one is just great overall, but it's specifically awesome for the Outriders because of the really high fire rate, and it also chews through the healing bubbles really fast. Up next is the Cryophon, which does pure frost. Now this is a pretty short range sort of shotgun style turret. It does the most per shot damage out of all the different turret weapons. It has pretty high base crit and the highest base status. This used to be the go-to weapon before it got nerfed, but it's still really strong if you have the right avionics, because when this thing crits with the right crit avionics, it does a lot of damage. And the frost proc is actually not too bad, especially with the status being this high, because with the Z-key version that I have anyway, every sort of other shot will slow the ship down considerably, even sometimes stop it altogether, and it will disable their weapons. And the final weapon on the menu is the Photor, which does primarily incendiary with a little bit of plasma as well. Now this is a beam weapon that has pretty good supporting stats, both the status and crit are pretty decent, and it doesn't even build heat up that fast. I mean, I have a Z-key version, and you can hold the thing down for quite a while. This one is not amazing on its own. I mean, it's a beam weapon, so you don't need to lead the target with it, which makes it much easier to hit stuff, but the damage is a little bit lackluster until you get the right avionics. Because from what I've heard, and I've heard this a lot, once you juice up both the status and the crit on this, it starts shredding things very, very fast. Also, I probably should have said this earlier, but all the video clips were from Rouge Warfield, where the fighter level is 42 to 45. And that is pretty much it for the video. Now, I know I'm terribly late, but I wanted to give them some time to like rebalance things and change stuff and tweak things and polish things up a little bit. And also because I've only just finished the last weapon. I mean, each one of them is like 15,000 titanium. That's a lot. So I hope you have enjoyed the video and you found it helpful. I thank you very much for watching as always, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.